Hi there. Did you know that during the mid 1960s, the idea for video games originated with the government? They wanted some sort of a device that helped develop reflexes for military personnel. In 1966, a man named Ralph Baer, whom worked for the defense contractor, addressed this idea when he came up with the concept of a television gaming apparatus. This device included both a chase game and a two-player tennis game, and it could be attached to a regular television set. In 1970, Bayer showed the game to Magnavox, whom signed a licensing agreement that following year. Then on January 27th of 1972, Magnavox launched Bayer's brown box technology, and it was known as the Odyssey video gaming console, and that was the world's very first home video gaming system. It was priced at $100. But due to the bulky size of it and the fact that it wasn't very challenging, it wasn't a big hit. However, it did pave the way for a multi-billion-dollar industry. My name is Crystal Hagee, and since I was a young child, I've always had an interest in video games, and that's an interest that I've passed down to my son. Video games, they aren't just a source of entertainment, they can be educational as well. They can aid in the development of fine motor skills, and they can help with hand-eye coordination. According to the National Video Game Association, there has been 50 video game consoles released in the United States. Video games have been so popular over the decades and such a part of our society, there's even a museum that's dedicated just to the video games. And you can find all of the 50 consoles that's been released in North America there, and you'd have an opportunity to play those games, and it'd be a very fun place for all video game fanatics. The first generation of games were developed between the years of 1972 and 1978. The Atari was founded in Sunnyvale, California in 1972 by Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney, and was a pioneer in arcade and home video games. Atari games included Pong, Asteroids, Missile Command, and many others that helped define the gaming industry. The Atari truly launched the electronic gaming revolution from 1972 to 1976, and you could find Atari Pong at any pub and arcade. The $100 game system was Sears' best-selling item during the 1975 Christmas season, with sales more than $40 million. There were several other systems that were created in the 70s that weren't so successful. The late 70s and the 80s began the golden age of video games due to the release of programmable video games. Priced at $199, Atari's VCS, later known as the Atari 2600, was released and stayed on the market through 1990. In 1978, Magnavox jumped into the programmable video game with the Odyssey 2. In 1980, Mattel launched its Intellivision video game, which featured better graphics than the VCS and was the first video game system to utilize a 16-bit microprocessor. Vectrex was released for the 1982 Christmas season and had numerous game cartridges released in its own television screen to play games on. Due to lack of technology, the early 80s was a bad era for gaming, and which caused the market to crash in 1982. There have been some major companies in the video game world over the years. Now I want to discuss some of the ones that were the most popular during their time. The Nintendo company released the NES in 1985, and it was an instant hit. Little do most people know that the Nintendo company began as a small Japanese card company in 1889. Since then, Nintendo has released a number of well-known, widely played gaming consoles such as the Super Nintendo, the Game Boy, which was their handheld game system, the Wii, the GameCube, the Nintendo 64, and most recently the Nintendo Switch. The first console that Sony produced was the PlayStation. It was released in North America on September 5th, 1995. The original console in the series was the first console of any type to ship over 100 million units, doing so under a decade. Following the PlayStation, there has been the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation Portable, also known as the PSP. Then there was the PS3, the PS4, and then the PS5, which is coming out later this year. The PlayStation 2 was the first PlayStation that utilized online gameplay through the PS2 Network Play system. Though it was not the first video game that utilized online play, the Atari Jaguar offered the first online play through dial-up services. Another key company in the gaming world is Microsoft, who produces the Xbox. The first Xbox was released by Microsoft on November 15th of 2001. The Xbox 360, was released as a successor to the original Xbox in November 2005, competing with Sony's PS3 and Nintendo's Wii. Xbox One was released in 2013, competing with the PS4. Microsoft has an Xbox Series X that is scheduled to come out also at the end of this year. Those are but just a few of the video game consoles that have been produced in our history, but the advancements of technology, the sky is the limit when it comes to gaming. With virtual reality already being incorporated into video games, I can't imagine what is going to be seen in our future. I've covered many different gaming consoles throughout our history, beginning with just an idea from the government to better the reflexes of the military. So I hope you enjoyed my speech and you've learned a little bit about the history of video games, and I know it's something that everybody enjoys. I hope you enjoyed it.